Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I wanted to do a mixture of first and second impressions and I came up with this look. I think it turned out so cool and I can't wait to show you how I achieved it. But before we get into the video, a portion of today's video is sponsored by Ritual, so a huge thank you to them. I've been taking their multivitamin for over a year now, and taking these is one of my first steps in my morning routine that makes me feel the happiest and the most productive. And these vitamins can be taken with or without food, which is very convenient, so I don't have to plan to take these around a meal. They have a delayed release capsule, so they're very gentle on an empty stomach. They're also vegan friendly, non-GMO, gluten and allergen free. My favorite thing about these and what keeps me consistently taking them is that they taste good. You can get a mint or lemon coating on them. I love how there are no shady fillers, colorants, or any additives, and Ritual is very forthcoming and transparent where they source their ingredients from. They're all listed on their website. And I like taking a multivitamin because I find it easier, and I know it's probably filling in nutrient gaps that I have in my diet just by taking 2 Eaze tablets a day. If you're interested in trying Ritual out, you can use my code JULIA-30 for 30% off your first order. And I have a link that will automatically apply my discount code for you, so I'll have that in the description box down below. So I wanted to say another big thank you to Ritual for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now let's get into the makeup. My intuition is telling me to start with my eyes today. So let's prep the canvas. As always, I'm going to put some of my Fenty Beauty eye primer. And starting with the eyes is fun because I can be very haphazard with my primer application. Sometimes I just go all the way out here because I know I'm going to be wiping the area afterwards. Then I like to take some of my concealer just so I have a blank slate. And as always, I forgot to dampen my sponge, so I'll do that once I get to my actual base. Like, you'd think I'd have the routine down pat, like damp your sponge, get your face cloth ready for swatches. Like, hello, I've only done this like 500 times. I'm going to be using 2 palettes today because I only got to use these once each. The Pretty Grunge from Huda Beauty and this year's Lightwork 5 from Niacinamide. And I have a look in mind that I want to kind of like make my own. It's the one that was in the promotional shots for this palette. It was the look that Huda herself was wearing. I think it's stunning. And I think it'd be really cool to use like these colorful shimmers instead of like the silvers. I'm running into a little dilemma. I thought that the shade Grunge in this palette was more of like a liner and less of a gloss. I think this is going to sabotage my look here today. So I'm going to forego using this and I'm just going to use a normal pencil liner to use as my base. And because it's a smoky effect, I'm using my Makeup Forever Artist Pencil in the shade 100 Whatever Black. I'm going to run this into my waterline. Maybe it's a good thing that I didn't wet this sponge. It just picked up a tear. Now I'm going to kind of blend this into my inner corner, which feels really weird. This is definitely going to be a trust the process look. And I'm taking my Rephr 03 brush to blend this out right away. Now let's work on this side of my eye. So it looks like it starts off similarly to how I usually do my liner. A bunch down here, and then it follows a little upward, like so. I'm going to take a nice angled brush. This is a MAC 263. I'm just going to soften this a little. And then I'm going to connect it all like so. And I'm starting off thin so it doesn't get completely out of hand, but hers looks to be pretty thick. Now this part, I am getting flashbacks of when I tried this sort of look using the Rare Beauty gel pencils, and it looked like a little second eyebrow. I'm just getting flashbacks of that look. That's why I'm approaching this with a little bit of nervous energy. You can't do that with eyeliner. You need to be in full control of it or else it's going to do you dirty. So we're going to pretend that never happened, and I'm going to kind of locate where I want this second detail. I'm going to look straight into my mirror, and I know I want visible negative space right here, so I'm just going to bloop, bloop, bloop. And if you mess up, this is kind of an easy thing to wipe off and restart, so do not let your eyeliner get a hold of you. I'm trying to take the pigment and make it go a little bit more flicked upward instead of so flat. I kind of messed up my angle there. If you're thinking of clicking off, don't, because remember, trust the process. I'm taking some of my concealer on this flat brush so I can start cleaning this up. Now I'm going to take a little bit of black on this cleanup brush, and I'm going to continue on from this angle here into my inner corner. Now I'm going to dip into this palette. I'm going to take some of this shade down here, Love Anarchy, and I'm going to put this in the inner portion right here to start. And I'm kind of going right on top of that eyeliner too, to kind of soften it, and so we can build more depth into this look. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the shade Brave, which is this cute kind of berry color, like a soft berry color. And I'm going to do the same right here. I'm also going to add a little bit of those two shades down here. Leaving this negative space free for shimmer. And I feel like it'd be cool to add maybe this shade into the mix, this kind of purpley shade, Nirvana, and the black. I was feeling like this would be cool on the inner portion here and then fade it out to black. So let's do that. I'm going to blend this into my inner corner. I'm adding a little bit of Fearless, which is this one right over here, to make that purple kind of pop. And then I'm going to take this angled brush. This is a ColourPop E30. And I'm going to take the shade Renegade, which now all I can think of is 2020 TikTok. And I'm patting this black shadow on top of all of the eyeliner we laid down, and this is going to make it look so rich and smoky and ultra opaque too. So I'm just coloring it in, and then once I get to the outskirts, I'm just going to take whatever's left on the brush with the tip and I'm going to fade it off. I think I'll introduce some of that purple color into there too. Taking whatever pigment I still have here, I'll flick it out. Now let's decide what shimmers I should use from the Libre palette. Because like, what the heck am I gonna do? The shade Powerful is kind of cool. Too dark maybe though. Healed, ooh. So here's the thing. A lot of the shades I thought I was going to use in here are black based, so it's just going to mess up everything we have here. So I'm thinking I'm going to mix shimmers from both palettes. So I'm going to pick a shimmer from the Huda. I'm liking the way this one's looking. It's the shade Rebel, this one. That looks cool. And I might layer some of this shade Protected, which is like a nice violet color. And then I was thinking I could use Powerful underneath of my eye and as little accents. So I'm taking some of that Rebel shade on my finger first. Then I'll take it on this About Face brush. It's like a flat brush. And this is a very creamy formula. And then I'm taking some of that protected shade on that same brush, and I'm going to go from outer to inward. Now I'm taking the shade Powerful from the Niacinamide palette. This really dimensional shade. Whoa. Oh my god, it looks completely different in camera. When I look at it this way, it's completely like a pinky purple. Really cool. That confused me. And I'll add this here. I'm getting tempted to just put it all over the black wing. Let's do it. Why not? And instead, I'm placing the shade Healed, this one here, underneath here. And this looks much more impactful. And I'm going to add a touch of that protected shade that we used on top down here as well, in hopes to brighten this up a little. Is this cool? I don't know. I feel like I just got lost in the shimmers. I'm going to attempt to put the sheerest veil of that Healed shade, and by doing that, I'm taking some on this brush and I'm just rubbing it on the back of my hand. You can see that it's super black based. So I'm hoping it'll just look a little gray this way. Okay, this is crazy. And here are both eyes done. How intense are these eyes? They took me so long to do, but I'm so proud of them. I think they're sick. And it's so fun to step out in different lightings with this look. It's so dimensional. And all of these Niacinamide shadows are like dancing around. Now let's build the rest of the face. So I already wiped the rest of my skin here. I'm going to start off with my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer because I'm going to be retrying the Fenty Stick Foundation, and I'm going to give it the best shot. So I want to see what it pairs like with my favorite primer. And I'm going to be using this foundation in the shade 4. And I'm going to apply it differently too. I'm not going to swipe it on my skin directly. I'm going to put some in the palm of my hand to warm it up. And then I'm going to take from here. That's already looking ass. Okay, it's blended. First things first, it's a little bit darker than my skin tone. Secondly, it's wearing a bit better than the first time, for sure, but it's still exaggerating some dry spots, which, oh my god, actually this is just looking worse and worse and worse as the seconds go by. I don't know how something can look so dewy, yet so dry and crusty at the exact same time. How does that work? I'm not going to power through with this base. I'm going to wipe it off, add something I like so we can give the other things a good shot, because I love these eyes too much to hate my base. I just put on my go-to, which is the Clinique Even Better in the shade CN28 Ivory. So now I'm going to use this Givenchy concealer. I haven't used it in a few weeks because I've been pretty much solely using my Tower 28. They really ate with that concealer formula. And I'm using this concealer in the shade N120. I feel like this will match the vibe of the Clinique foundation. It has a really nice finish, but not like the most coverage ever. It has a really nice glowy hydrated look. I'm so happy I wiped off that Fenty stuff. I would have been miserable. It was making me so grouchy. Okay, so now let's get into powder. I'm going to try this powder for the first time. It's from Flower Nose. They sent me these 3 shades. So this one's really unique. It's a lavender powder. It's very purple. They also have this pink one, which looks so pretty. It almost looks like a loose powder blush. And then they have a classic translucent shade. And they all come with this cute little powder puff that's really on trend with the bow. And then this is just white. So I'm thinking of trying the lavender one. I've never tried a lavender powder. I'm interested to see how this goes because there are like lavender color correctors, which helps with dullness. So I wonder if this is going to add a nice effect under my eye here. And I think it'll complement the eye look since there's lots of purple. So I'm applying it with my Huda Powder Puff. It has the feel of a powder I like. I don't know if it's looking a little gray. I think I have too much here. Just going to take this brush to flick away. I'm now thinking, what if I try the pink on this side? I'm too curious now. I'm going to use the pink on the other side, and then I'll figure a way to balance things out. But I'm taking a fresh powder puff for this side. Ooh, it's like a warm pink, almost like salmon pink. You know, this would be a good one to transition into like a pink blush, but I'm not sure I'm loving it as much as this side today. What do you guys think? Do you see a big difference? I like gave you 2.5 seconds to really see a difference before I added pink on the other side. I'm so sorry. It has a super fine silky feel, which I like that. Then maybe later on I'll try the translucent on the rest of my face. For my highlighter today, I'm going to retry this one from e.l.f. It's the Halo Glow Beauty Wand in the shade Champagne. I've used this a few times and I'm not sure, so I want to see if it can convince me today. Whoa. Okay, yeah, that is pretty. What's interesting about it, it doesn't give the most intense glow ever, but its vibe really reminds me of a liquid version of this Essence Pure Nude highlighter. I don't have a new bronzer at the moment, so I'm going to use my Tower 28 Sculptino in the shade Getty, and I'm applying with my Rose Ink No. 3 brush. I always really work it into my hairline. That's pulling so warm on me today. I'm getting like Black Swan vibes every time I see myself in the monitor. I'm like, whoo! I feel like that turned out so warm. I thought it was going to be more neutral. I'm going to add a little bit of Toasted from Milk just to balance that out. It's a little too warm for me right now. I need to self-tan so bad. Now I'm going to set my skin using the white setting powder. Let's see how this one goes. Ooh, pretty big difference, hey? It really cuts the shine nicely. It gets everywhere. It's like super floofy. That is really nice. It's like ultra blurring. Super, super blurring. My forehead looks so diffused. Wow. I wonder how that's going to wear, but that looks actually quite awesome. Ooh. Now I'm going to try out this blush quad from Dasik, which is a Korean brand, I believe. It looks really cute, and I thought like these two shades would be pretty mixed with this eye look because it has kind of like a purpley hue. I'll try this one on its own first, and then I might layer a different shade on top. Oh, that's cute on its own actually. Ooh, I love how buildable this formula is. Great for us who are super heavy-handed with blush. I think that color is super cute with this look. This is the Blending Mood Cheek in the shade 05 Violet Knit. Isn't that nice? Ooh, and unique to my collection. It's very, very cool. I dig that a lot, actually. I also have this one, which I'll have to try another time. It's the palette in 10 Muted Nuts. Put them nuts on mute. I'm just going to quickly do my brows, so please enjoy the kitten intermission. It's so satisfying to see this look come together. It's just really transforming in front of my eyes. I'm going to put a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. And I think to finish this makeup off, I want to use one of these Flower Nose lip products again. I really loved the shade Silver Moon in my last video. It made my lips look so juicy and hydrated and glowy. I really liked the effect. I thought it was going to be like our average tinted balms, but it was just a little bit more luminous than usual ones. So let's find a shade that will suit this look. Let me know if you'd like to see like a lip swatch reels or short using these. I could totally do that. They're all quite vibrant or very warm, aside from the shade Silver Moon, which is the shade I used last time. I think that's the only one that's going... Did you just see that bug? What the heck? It's coming from my ears. It's trying to lay eggs in my ears. Anyways, I'm going to repeat my lip combo from the last video. So I'm starting with the Cheekbone Horizon Lip Pencil in the shade Sand. And this is an Indigenous owned Canadian brand, and the lip liner is really awesome. Yeah, that's a good match with the blush. Oh, that's such a nice formula. And then I'm going to be using the shade Silver Moon. See, look at that shine. It's so glowy, and my lips are so dry, like the driest thing ever. And it's making them look so plump and hydrated and kissable. Who wants to come give me a kiss? You know what this lip gives me? Princess Peach from the Super Mario Bros. Movie. That's what it's reminding me of. And here is the final look. I'm so happy I changed my foundation because now I love my eyes and I love my base. So now let's talk about these products. Let's start with the eyeshadow palettes. I feel like I still feel the same way about this one as my first impression. If I didn't receive this in PR, I wouldn't have put $170 towards this palette. This is something I don't really see myself using on a weekly basis. I see myself like using it a few times a year. But if you see yourself using it daily or often on a weekly basis, I would say go for it if you're really, really drawn to it. The shadows perform really beautifully. The shifts are amazing. They're incredibly interesting to look at and watch move and shift around. And there's so many different formulas in here, and the shades are stunning. It's just something I don't really see being like a huge staple of mine. They're very transformative, they work amazingly, but it's just something that doesn't like super strike me for $170. I do prefer the Pretty Grunge palette though. I feel like this is really diverse in shades. They're fun to use. I think this is a really fun take on a cooler toned palette. I feel like it's approachable, really workable, and the shadows perform beautifully. The shimmers work wonderfully and they're very creamy and fun to work with. Like, I get excited to open this palette. I just feel naturally drawn to this one, and I know I'll pick this out of my drawer often. Touching base on this Fenty stick foundation, it's a super no-go for me. I just don't understand it. It feels really promising. It has like a nice slippy, moussey feel, but it looks moussey on your skin as well. It doesn't sink in beautifully. It just exaggerates the look of texture and it just looks like it's slipping around. Nobody wants that. I just think this is a a really bad formulated foundation. And I'm very pleasantly surprised by these powders. They performed really well, and they're a texture that I am very drawn to. They're very finely milled, they're super blurring, and they feel like they're going to set my makeup in place. Like I feel like my under eyes and my skin looks flawless by using these. I didn't expect that. I thought that these were just going to be like fun colored powders, but they're actually quite impressive. I'm excited to see how they pair with my other favorite foundations and concealers. But speaking of concealer, I'm doing this in the weirdest order ever, sorry. Talking about the Givenchy concealer, I feel like it's good. It kind of reminds me of the Makeup Forever HD concealer, which I do love. This one here, it has that kind of buildable coverage where it's not super potent on the first swipe. You can build it up nicely, and it has that kind of powdery inclusion in it or something. It feels really nice under the eyes, but it does not come close to my Tower 28 favorite right now. I feel like this is getting lost in the Tower 28 concealer's shadow. I'm very excited about this blush palette. I always love the idea of a blush palette, but there's never the perfect tones, whereas I feel like I'd really use all of these colors in here. Although they're very like monochromatic, I feel like they're different enough that I'll reach for it, and it's small enough too. So I'd feel really excited to travel with this. It's a very classic powder feel. I loved how buildable it was though. It wasn't like intense pigment right away. I was able to really control the amount I wanted, and the color's really unique to my collection. Talking about the e.l.f. Halo Glow highlight, is it my favorite? No, definitely not, but I don't mind it, and I feel like it could have the chance to really grow on me. I might grow on it, or it may grow on me. I forget which is the proper saying. I get those kind of sayings backwards all the time because I grew up bilingual. I speak French and English, so sometimes I get confused, okay? Not my favorite, but it could have more potential down the road. And finally, for the lip products, I feel like this is going to be one of my new go-to lip combos. I just can't get enough of how glowy this lipstick is and how perfect of a match this is to the Silver Moon shade. Like, this is so nice. And the lip liner is really nice. It's super creamy, but it still has a stick to it that it's going to last well. And this just feels so luxurious, and I can't believe how dewy it's making my lips look for how undewy they actually are right now. So those are all of my thoughts. I just wanted to say another huge thank you to Ritual for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Again, you can use my code JULIA-30 to get 30% off your first order, and I'll have that link in the description box down below that will automatically apply that discount code for you. So please check that out if you're interested in trying out Ritual. But that's going to be all from me. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll have everything I used linked and listed in the description box down below, so feel free to check that out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!